Welcome back. Last week, the FDA approved the first ever pill to treat postpartum depression. The treatment, zuranolone, will soon be available to thousands of new mothers impacted by the condition each and every year. Dr. We just pronounced this multiple times.
Yeah, and you did good.
Bagdasarian?
Yes.
I'm sorry, doctor.
Okay.
Good Samaritan Medical Center joins us this morning with more on the major step when it comes to treating postpartum depression. I think that no matter if you want this drug or not, the fact that we are talking about postpartum depression is such a big deal. Talk to us a little bit about what it is and how many women are affected by postpartum.
Sure. So postpartum depression is similar to baby blues, except the difference is the duration of the symptoms and how severe they are. So baby blues is sadness, change in mood, sleeplessness, normal things that mothers experience, which is from a decline in hormones that happen after childbirth. But postpartum depression is more intense and it lasts for 2 weeks. And it can happen anytime from giving birth until a year after.
You know, this is something that's been happening for a long time.
Right.
But I was sharing with you, I've had 2 babies, and I kind of went through this with my second daughter, Palmer, and I wasn't afraid to talk about it. And I think part of it is because more people are talking about postpartum. For a long time, it was such a thing that you kind of kept to yourself. You didn't want to admit that maybe things didn't seem as wonderful as they're supposed to appear.
Right. There's still a lot of stigma about it. I've noticed in my practice, patients don't openly speak about the issues that they're having, and a lot of times their partners or whoever is in their social circle are the ones advocating for them. So women that are suffering through depression or anyone with depression doesn't really have insight on their disease. So that's where other people can come in and help.
So talk a little bit about how this pill will be different than any other kind of antidepressant.
So typically we give the normal antidepressants that people are familiar with. They are not tailored to treat postpartum depression specifically because they don't fix the hormonal imbalance that occurs. This medication, zuranolone, is supposed to increase the hormone that declines after a patient gives birth, which is very unique.
Interesting. Yeah. And so any kind of known side effects at this point?
There are a couple of things that I've read that can be problematic. One of them is fatigue and drowsiness. The manufacturer so the manufacturer did recommend not operating heavy machinery or driving 12 hours after taking it. And the second thing that is problematic is breastfeeding. So no studies were done on the effects that this can have on a newborn. So the mother can't breastfeed for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question about, you know, a lot of times you don't want to say anything, you don't want to go on anything because, you know, you're obviously nursing. Overall, what do you think the drug's impact will be?
I think the impact of the drug is a very positive one because it has such a quick treatment course. It's only for 14 days and the effects of it can last up to a couple months.
Oh, wow.
And you see improvement within the first 3 days, which is very different than other antidepressants. You have to take them every day and you don't really feel anything from them for a couple weeks.
So if there are any moms out there watching and they're saying, well, I don't know if I'm experiencing postpartum, I don't really know what's going on, because like you said, the hormones, the change, the sleeplessness, a lot goes on after you have a baby. What do you recommend? How should they speak up?
I think the best thing is to bring it up to your provider at the earliest available visit. And it doesn't always have to be the provider that you delivered with. In the beginning, you know, women see their pediatrician more often because of the baby, and you can bring it up to them as well. Another kind of recommendation I have is the partners to take note of any changes that they see and bring that up to their providers as well. Because again, you don't have much insight when you're sick with this.
Oh, really good information. And not about me, but I've been through it. I understand it's a real thing and it's okay. So if you feel like you're going through something, do not hesitate to reach out to someone for help because there's help out there. There's a lot of other options. Even if you don't want to take medicine, there's so many ways that
and
you
we
can
don't always jump to medication.
Sure.
We always recommend therapy first, but unfortunately, a lot of patients wait until the symptoms get so severe that they can't function.
And don't be afraid to talk to a new mom or talk to a friend about what you've experienced. Thank you very much. A lot of good information. We appreciate it. We'll be interested to see how this all pans out. If you want more information, go to our website, WPBF.com.